Okay, we are live and we're going to build a simple budget today, so let's get started. First thing I want to do is just put a header. And then I want to do paycheck, and we're going to do monthly. It's a little easier to do. And we're going to do 401k as well as taxes to get a net paycheck. Let's start with $4,000 a month. Then let's put taxes, Social Security plus income taxes, say 7.65% plus 20%, so let's put 28%. You can calculate it for yourself, but we'll do 0.28 for our exercise today. And then let's say we put in 5% for 401k. To get a net paycheck before insurance and other things of, and we'll use the sum feature here, and there's my net paycheck. I am going to take this column and I'm going to format the cell, and it's going to be number format. We're just going to do number here. I'm going to do decimal places, which actually I believe is in text. Oh, it's right here. I don't know why I can't find it right now. We'll leave the decimals for now until I can find it. But I will put a border in here. I want to put an underline there so that we can see that that's a total. Now let's put in expenses. And rent is a big one, insurance, electricity, phone, streaming, internet, food, clothing, car. And I'm going to stop there just for sake of simplicity, but I'll show you how you can add more expense categories in a little bit. But I want to go ahead and put a sum here as well so I can track how much my expenses are. And again, I know these numbers are different for everybody depending on where you live, so they may not fit to your paycheck or your expenses, but I want to just give you an example of the way this can work for you, and you can use your own amounts. So I want another border. I'm going to put that there. And now we're going to go in and put in expenses. So let's call rent $1,000 a month, insurance $200, electricity $50, phone $50, streaming internet. If you've got it in your apartment and you've got some streaming services, that could be $100, food $200, clothing $100, car $500. Now say you want to add fuel, because you track that separately. Let's tap on the row number, and then we can use this arrow and we can insert a row above. And now I can add fuel. gasoline, and say that's $50 a month. So now you can see I've got some expenses, I've got total expenses, and I've got a net paycheck. I'm going to put net savings here to show that if there aren't any other expenses, that we will have $430 of net savings left at the end of the month. Now, what I'd like to see is what percentage of these expenses are part of my net paycheck. So I'm going to add a percent here. I'm going to title it percent of net, I want a capital letter, paycheck. And I'm going to center this here down at the bottom. And I'm going to do a border. I'm going to title this budget. I'm going to center that and do a border. Now, I'm going to do my percent of net paycheck. Tap the pencil and equals 1,000 for B10 divided by the net paycheck, and I'm going to use relative cell referencing here to make sure that that B7 doesn't change. So I'm going to add the string B string 7. I'm going to format that to be a percent. There's decimal places. We'll go use that. I knew it was there. Percent. But I only want it to be one decimal place. So I'm going to copy this. Oh. And I'm going to paste. And paste again. Paste a third time. I'm also going to do my border here. Okay. Let's see if I can get those decimals now. Curious if it's because I highlighted multiple columns. There we go. Does that look good? Let's add back the 2 decimal places. I like that looking better. The other thing that we do is we can make this dollars. So let's do that, number format, and use accounting to add a $sign at the top, and we'll add a $sign at the bottom. There we go. Now there's your budget. So you can see now that rent is 37% of your monthly take-home, car is 18% of your monthly take-home. Now, what I want to do is I want to make another sheet and I want to duplicate it. I want to rename this month 1. And you can name it for whatever month you're coming up to. So now I've got month 1. I'm going to do actual here. Hit the pencil. I'm going to center and border. So now I'm going to copy this over. Actually, I copy this whole thing over. copy, paste. But I'm going to clear it all. Not going to clear it all. I'm only going to clear some of it. So clear. And clear. Now I've got a good start. So let's say my actual pay had a good month. It was $4,100. The other thing I can do to show you as well, I can freeze panes. I can zoom here a little bit too. Don't like how that did that though. So I'm gonna unfreeze. Yeah, I don't like how it did that. Alright, let's unfreeze. I'm going to make this small. So I'm going to hide it. Hide column. Now we can see this a little better. So I'm going to copy taxes. I'm going to copy the 401k. Just tapping here and selecting. And rent doesn't change. Insurance doesn't change. Electricity, phone generally doesn't change. Streaming internet generally doesn't change. Food, say I went out to eat. Clothing, say I bought a nice pair of shoes. Fuel, and then car, 500. So now you can see there's my actual, and I can do a variance. And show actual minus budget. I can copy that down. But here I want a sum, so I'm going to copy, paste, copy, and tap and paste, and copy, and tap and paste. So now I know, I'm going to do some borders here too. I'm going to center and border. So now I know that I earned $67 more. I spent $17 more. So I ended up with $50 of additional net savings. The other thing I can add here is a percent of actual. I'm going to unhide this column. So here's my percent of net paycheck. You know what I'm going to do here too? That's a little wide. So I'm going to wrap text by doing that. I'm going to expand this row, which is not easy to do. So I'm going to zoom in. There. See, it's that little double arrow there. Now, I tap on that twice and I can get the column to narrow the way I want it. I copy this. Actually, I'm just going to copy one. I'll show you why here in a second. Copy, paste, and that is going to be wrong. So I'm going to move E to D. And then B7 is going to be D7. D. It's just easier for me to see though. I'm going to copy that. See how I got the formatting so I don't have to format again. I'm going to paste, paste, paste. And now I need to do a border, do a border, and that for me is how I complete a simple budget in Google Sheets on my phone. Definitely comment and let me know if you want a copy of this and I can share it with you via a link. But if you have any questions, definitely put them in the comment and we can work through this conversation. But now you've got a budget that is kind of set up as a template, and then you can copy to month one. And what I would suggest is you could also link the sheets, which we could discuss in another video, or you can adjust your budget each month and then duplicate in a way. Actually, what I would do, since this is all set up, I would duplicate this one, adjust your budget, and then fill in your actual for the month and the percent actual. But pretty dynamic. That's the power of Google Sheets, and you can do it on your phone. You don't even need a computer, and you can do it while you're driving around. So if you're at the gas station, you can fill in the fuel number. If you're at the store, you can fill in the clothing number. If you're at a restaurant, you can fill in the food number or the supermarket. So much better to do that as you're working through your expenses than to try to remember when you get home and do it on your laptop. So there you go. Thanks for watching.